What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today we're going to be going over the Spirit Affinity Undead Hordes champion in Harvest Jack, one of the OG fusions. Now I used to have a lot of fun with this dude, specifically in the arena mainly and the faction wars. But he's just amazing for the HYDRA boss in my opinion, and he actually has the potential to be S tier with a few minor buffs that Plarium can make to this champion if they happen to watch this video. So what am I talking about? Let's get into it. So do you know what? We're going to start off with the A1 actually. So attacks one enemy 3 times and each hit has a 35% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. So hypothetically, the Head of Mischief, he steals one of your buffs, he spreads them onto all of the other HYDRA heads. He's able to pick and choose with the right affinities and potentially get one of those buffs back, right? All 3 of them. So this is a really nice A1, and you could book it up, but it's not really needed. The chance isn't high enough for me to want to do it, but it's still a really nice touch. On his A2 ability with Dreams to Ash, he attacks all enemies and places a block of buffs if they are under a fear. Now this is where I said he could become S tier just by removing this conditional fear, right? Because AoE block buffs is just amazing. But even without that, let's talk about the rest here. Removes any increased attack buffs from the target and replaces them with a 50% decreased attack. So when the Head of Wrath, he gets that increased attack on, he's about to proc Vengeance at turn count 15. You're able to swap that to a decreased attack, which could be amazing in surviving that AoE hit, right? So this is really nice with that replace. Second part of this kit, removes any continuous heal buffs on the target and replaces them with a 5% poison debuff. Once again, this is outstanding because it allows you to use champions like Wither the Crown or champions like Manaya or Attila Gormain who places continuous heals, and you're getting really scared that they're going to get stolen from the Head of Mischief. Now timing this correctly, even if it gets cleansed onto all of the HYDRA heads, you place that AoE, you remove those continuous heals, and all of that work that you just put into getting their HP down, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Only downside is, Head of Mischief is the wrong affinity in this rotation, but it won't affect the rest of them, because there's no chance here, it's just a damage increase. So you're able to just place that as long as the right affinity and you've got that accuracy, right? So it's really nice. On his A3, unfortunately it's useless, but once again, if Plarium watched this video, make this a decreased speed AoE without the conditional fear and just make this a block buffs, and we are looking at an outstanding champion. Even if they do something like, if the champion is under a leech, so the new fusion like Bivold, who places those leeches through Poison Cloud, it will just be amazing, right? I'd love to see it one day. Make it a leech to place a block buffs and a decreased speed, and it would be outstanding. Now, the shine of his kit. This is the reason why I've made this video, and it's a one-of-a-kind ability. The only one that's got a very similar one to this, I'll talk about in a second, but when attacked, decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. Every single time that you're hit with an AoE or a single target on Harvest Jack. This is literally one of a kind. Nobody does it as well as Harvest Jack in this game. And for HYDRA, this is amazing because if those buffs once again are getting spreaded onto everybody, they're hitting you with AoEs, even if they're under a poison cloud, it doesn't matter. You're decreasing the duration of all of those buffs, which means once your abilities cycle round again, you can play stuff like the burns, etc. if they stole like a block debuffs, for instance. So this is amazing, right? Reduce those cooldowns of decreased attack, the increased defense, the block debuffs, the ally protection from Head of Suffering. It's just a remarkable passive just to have him sit there in your team. Now, the only other champion that I'm aware of that has a very similar passive, but it's not the best in comparison to Harvest, is Sigmund the High Shield. Because whenever this champion is attacked, has a 40% chance of decreasing duration of all buffs by 1 turn. This is 40%. Harvest Jack does it. It doesn't matter. There's no chance. It just happens. So hopefully I can showcase that in today's video. So how have I built him today? We have got a regeneration to keep him alive. We've got high resistance, high sustainability, and enough accuracy to place those debuffs. I must say an amazing pair for this champ is also the recent fusion in Nari the Lucky, because he's stealing the buffs of his A1, he's also placing decreased resistance and decreased accuracy, and he's just reducing everything with that A1 and passive. So it's just amazing pairing there. Masteries, potentially you can go down to War Master, but I've just gone for resistance because I use him elsewhere, and I can kind of use him as a mischief tank, right? If he chooses to target Harvest Jack, we're able to resist it, of course. So just an outstanding kit for Hydra with the potential to be S tier. So let's go into the Hydra now and briefly break down some of the kits, right? So the Head of Decay here attacks one enemy and obviously removes the heads. We'll talk about that later on. The Head of Torment has an AoE on his A2, so you're able to decrease all of those durations, right? Head of Mischief steals the targets of the most buffs. If you don't resist those, he's able to reduce them once again with that A1 and that passive, and Strip with that decreased attack and continuous heals. Also does the buff spread, so if it does go onto all of the heads, once again you can reduce. Head of Wrath has a increased attack on his A2 right here, so you're able to replace that with a decreased attack so Vengeance doesn't hit as harder. Head of Suffering has ally protection, so you can reduce those durations once again, which is really nice. And the Head of Blight also does AoE if they happen to be under some buffs, right? Which is really nice. So let's go into a quick run. Okay, so I've got a few recordings that I managed to pull through. It's really time consuming, of course, but it's mainly to showcase this kit more than the team, so just ignore half of it. But what we were trying to do here is, Godseeker Iniri has an AoE to reduce the durations. Geomancer can strip on his A2. Inquisitor Shemale can reduce durations on his A1. And Wither the Crown can place continuous heals, so we can showcase the stripping of that as well. So let's just forward into this run here. Alright, so right at this point, Head of Mischief decided to steal our buffs and now wanted to put it onto everybody else, right, by hitting our Harvest Jack. So at this point here, you guys may be doing your runs, you're 8 minutes in, like it says here, and you're like, oh my god, I need to reset because they're all going to heal back up, and all of this hard work I put in to destroy the Head of Decay, for instance, who you really want to remove from the rotation, are all going to heal. I'm going to have to do it all again. And by the time you hit that point, they're swallowing your champions quicker than you can kill them. So Harvest Jack, right here, can do this with his A2 ability, and boom. Removes all of those continuous heals apart from the weak hit on Mischief, which is unfortunate, but obviously you guys can see the full value here. Like, even if Mischief changes his affinity on future rotations, he's still going to hold that value, and he does not need books. He doesn't need it to do this sort of things. So if you are building your second teams, you don't have an Ugo anymore because you've used it in your first rotation, this is a great champion to put into those second teams and still be able to remove those buffs and reduce those durations. So right here, boom, reduce durations and reduce durations as well on the Head of Wrath there. Hope you guys can catch that. So now on this team too, we have just thrown in our Underpriest Brogni, and I want you guys to pay close attention to that Head of Wrath, who is about to proc at a turn count 15 for that Vengeance. So watch this. That increased attack now turned into a decreased attack. So he's not going to be able to smack us as hard as he would have with that Vengeance, which could potentially one-shot your team, right? And we don't want someone like a Godseeker Iniri to die. Now guys, look, this is just showing the value of being able to use continuous heals because all of our champions have had it, but look at the health of the Hydra heads. Because we're reducing those durations, we're stealing them, we're removing them. It's just working out really amazing, and boom, sit down. And then now we just have to take out the Head of Wrath, and then all of the heads are going to start spawning in again. And then boom, the Head of Blight has just come in, and that is the one that places the poisons. And just look at this, it's just working out great. That Head of Wrath is about to proc his Vengeance. Just one more hit, and he's got that burn on as well. Let's get that on him. And boom, sit down with that vengeance. And it's just working out really great. The Head of Mischief is out of the cycle now, and we're just down to 5 champions. So yeah, I hope I could really showcase how to use this kit if you wanted to use him. He's just someone that you guys may have in the vault. You run out of block buffs champions for your other keys, and you can just throw them into a team like this that doesn't rely on perfect veil, doesn't rely on those decreased speeds, or those block buffs, or drop defense. I didn't even mention there's no drop defense or weaken in here, or increased speed. This is just pure sustainability and the removal of the increased durations. So yeah, that is going to be all for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for more HYDRA content. And yeah, just let me know what you think about his kit, because as I've said before, you may have him in the vault, you may want to be using a new champion for your other rotations, and he's definitely got an amazing passive. I would pair really well with a Doom Priest maybe as well. That happens every single turn to counter that Mischief Head. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.